Hello everyone. I'm just going to, okay. Thank you for coming today and hearing what we're going to share. And also thanks Min for inviting us to share our story as well. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk about Borneo Lab. Myself, I'm actually a qualified architect, like from UK, but I'm originally from Malaysia, but being away from home for 15 years, like we actually come back like 2 years ago and set out this Borneo Lab. Yeah, so this presentation, actually there will be two parts. So the afternoon section is actually talking about the how of Borneo Lab. And then later on, if you're interested in knowing more, I will go through like some of the images of the experimentation, design experimentation that we have done previously. But I'm just going to show them, explain it more in the Petrakucha section. So now, okay, so to start with, I want to talk about two stories about the design practice. So the first one happened in the West, and the second one happened in the East. And in the West part, at one point, a lot of people used to build for the like enshrining the god rather than looking at the human value of the architecture. So that was the core value of the edifice at that time. So Michelangelo actually made a difference on the Capitoline, like the piazza. So in this piazza, what he trying to do was like, instead of building for the god, how could we build something like a construction that will bring people together? So he built a piazza. So that actually marked the start of the Renaissance. So until today, this is still a very popular place to be, and also a very prominent destination if you go to Italy. So the second project, second design practice I want to talk to you about is based in East. So at one point in the history, like a lot of people were inspired by the Chinese garden because of the extravagance of it, and I think a lot of rich people at the time and also the high-ranking officer, they were looking at having an extravagant like Chinese landscape as something to show off their wealth. So it's actually inspired a lot of like Japanese or the Korean or the culture around China to look at like, okay, how could we have like the extravagance of the Chinese garden? Like, so this is the example of the lingering garden. So so during the Shogun time, which is like colliding with like what this is going on. So Hideyoshi, like he's one of the very prominent shogun at the time. He was asking like the most prominent landscaper and also a tea ceremony master and also a monk like Rikyu to look at like building him a garden. So at that point, like he was like, can you build me something similar to what Chinese garden has? So he would, but Rikyu actually, okay, so at the beginning part of the garden, he managed to put in like some of the Chinese garden elements, which is so extravagant and also with a lot of hierarchy. But at the end of it, it's ended like that. So that was Ryonji. Ryonji was like, it was just an empty lot with a lot of like stone. So he named it Stone Garden. But with the wall around it, like he actually managed to get the reflection coming from the surrounding, which is like very extravagant, and also you can, and it also becoming a very contemplative ground for a lot of people coming into the garden. So I think the underlying message from this landscape is basically, why would we looking outward rather than looking what we already have and make something interesting out of it. So I think for me, a courageous design practice asks questions and also the answer. So it's also made me think about like, how could we do something in Borneo? So Borneo Lab is a lab for driving the Borneo aesthetic. So we're not simply looking at just architecture, we're also looking at art and craft and also the culture And so instead of places like looking at places like London, New York, Paris, Tokyo, which is a lot of people consider as the art destination or architectural destination, how about the art in Borneo? How could we make a difference? How can we, using what we are already available to us and looking at the potential of it? And so it was a simple question that drove us. Luckily, we don't have to find inspiration from so far away. Like, I think what interesting about Borneo is like we always inheriting this very interesting concept about berjalai. So in the past, a lot of community, they used to be isolated. Like, so once in their life, a lot of people actually have to travel a big trip. So they call this big trip berjalai. In this big trip, you travel, you meet people, you talk to people, your value crush or grow, and you always come back as a better being, as a better person. So I think what we can learn from this berjalai culture is how could we make more collaboration happen. So in Borneo Lab, we working on 4 pillars, and so the first one is the research workshop, and second one is the design service, and curatorial direction, and also propagation. So obviously this will bring us to different people. Like we work with educational institute, like UCSI as well, and design made artisan. So we also work with like furniture brand in our design service, and festival bodies, individual clients, developer. And for the curatorial service, we work with NGO and cultural agency and festival bodies. And for the propagation, our first book was already sold out in 2018. It was released at the end of like 2017. Now we are working on our second propagation, Borneo Lab. So at the end of the day, it's like what we're trying to do is how could we practice and at the same time turning this entire thing into an evolving material library. So just imagining like whatever we build actually contributing to the knowledge and also to the archive and the library itself. So how amazing is that? So we don't want to just think or imagining it, we want to work on it. So research workshop is a design lab. We are lucky to have this beautiful place to be our incubator. Yeah. So we have been working on like several design lab workshop. So we've been working with like different category of artists or the uni from different places, like, and so we also invited by Taiwan Cultural Ministry to work on this project. So how could we work with their craftsmen and looking at putting, seeing how can we get some innovation out of it. Also, like last year we were in Rainforest Fringe Festival. So in this Fringe Festival, we worked with 6 designers and at the same time like pairing them with the local craftsmen. And tutor from UCL and also student. Like, so we're looking at like how can we build structure like out of it. So the example is like we will look at like, okay, how to set out a prototype and then turn it into structure. So for the curatorial service, we always see like how can we set out a design collective by working with like different people around the region. So last year our theme was redesigning Bornean craft. So in this project we were looking at like how could we work with designers from 3 different countries and then within 20 days come up with some innovation. So I'm going to show you a video.
What I like about Borneo material is always constantly changing because of our climate, the constant rain and also the exposure of sunlight. For example, BORNEAN is continuously changing its texture. They are very strong. They're also very persistent as well. The Borneo craft at the moment is pretty much underexplored if we want to move further. I think there is a lot of conversation ought to take place Either it is from within or like coming from outside to come in. They always use bamboo, but how about like using bamboo in Borneo to look at the potential of like merging bamboo with tin? If you look at her work, there's a lot of like very region-specific lacquer use. How could that lacquer like bring to Borneo and then use on the craft over here? Baywan, Plum and Chi, they are quite playful in whatever they do. There's a lot of association with how could they mix different material together. Julian, the founder of We Artisan Society, and how could he, working with the Indonesia Kalimantan craftsmen, and to bring it over to share the expertise with rattan maker around Kuching. Wilson from Private G, one of the most prestigious timber workshop of Taiwan. So he will work with like the BORNEAN timber over here. Kang Kang from Divoi Studio, he looked at like timber bark to put timber bark in spatial use rather than just stay on the decorative level. 6 designers from Thailand and Taiwan. Within 20 days, they have to bring out the conversation between their respective region and Borneo.
For Kuching, like you have a lot of people, like different nationality in one city, different food, different languages.
Chinese people, Malayu people, and indigenous people, they mix together.
不同的族群，然后交流之后出了新的食物，我觉得这是一件很特别的一件事。
The identity of the group of people is really impact me, and I feel that they can live together.
And they like a friend and family. It's quite interesting for us to see that.
Very interesting for us. Like you guys already blend in everything together.
It's a lot of different group of people in Borneo and also in Kuching. This kind of thing I would like to bring this together to create my product. I think lacquer from Thailand is just like the bridge to put two things that looks totally different. I mean wood and broken ceramics. But the material that's very interesting that I found here is timber. I mean billion timber.
我使用的木头是比莲是一个比较坚硬的木头，它本身的纹理方向是交错的。
We think it's definitely beautiful wood, but it could be more than just a solid wood or
more than like big piece of furniture.
一般家具是比较方正，然后我想比较做比较细致的，就是有很多线条上面是需要比较多手工的部分。
We wanna introduce the new way of this, be more like a small object.
People can easily touch and like feel the materials, something like that. Yeah.
The concept of movement is from Ngajas dance, which is a traditional dance of Iban's people. We try to reinterpret in our ways like past and future together.
One of the local indigenous community, which is called Kenya, they practice a farming technique called the swidden. They would cut down a small area of the forest, and then they would grow their food there for a few years, and then after that, they would move on. Just before they leave, they would plant rattan in order to rehabilitate the damaged forest. Rattan, besides being a material that we can use for making furniture, baskets, and everyday objects, rattan have this amazing ability to heal damaged forests, and that is something I found really, really amazing and a really important idea I wanted to integrate into the project for Rainforest Fringe Festival.
想用这个材料，然后让观者来看的时候可以感受到，其实这就是你们当地的树皮。那我希望他们可以感受到早期他们可能在住在长屋的时候，盖屋顶的时候，他们也是会用到树皮这个材料，然后就是让大家回忆那一段。那其实我来当地的时候才发现，其实这个树皮其实很不容易找，不管是博在附近，就是有很多热带雨林，为什么会这个材料会就是没有一直被 当地运用。
We have a chance to work with these people, and we work with Uncle Ho. He told us about he has like 3 sons, 1 daughter, but no one wants to do things anymore.
The owner of this last remaining rattan shop, he mentions that 10 years ago, where we are now in Jalan Bishopsgate, there used to be quite a few rattan makers and rattan sellers. But nowadays, this is the last remaining rattan shop.
I think one of the challenge of Borneo craft scene at the moment is like people always perceive that if you're not doing lawyer, architect, or doctor, then you're not doing well. These craftsmen, they would rather to give up their skill, and it's a huge problem.
Encourage or sharing, inspire together to engage young and senior one. That is really important to continue this.
Next generation have to see what they have and develop and evolve for the future.
希望这些工艺不要消失，那我觉得他们可以继续保留下来，然后继续做更多的变化。
To step outside of our comfort zone and to reimagine what this material can do.
By doing so, it will bring in more awareness and also the local people interested in asking the question, like, what can we bring to the table?
Here's some of our outcome coming from the redesigning boning craft. So we're not simply looking at architectural scale, we're also looking at like industrial product. And we're working with craftsmen and seeing how can we like bring in innovation to what they're doing. So another thing that we look at is not like apart from the architectural design and the industrial product, we're also looking at like some of the current and global issue, like for example plastic waste. And I'm going to show you what we are doing for Sketcher Sundown Festival. It's also a video. Borneo Lab is a multidisciplinary creative platform. Over the last 2 years, we have been working with designer, artisan, filmmaker from all around the world on regional collaboration. Our base is in Kuching City, Borneo. In this coming April, we are traveling to Singapore for our next project, Sketcher Sundown Festival. Singapore as an international city, it is an exciting place for collaboration. We believe this is the best suited place for innovating upon the potential of plastic waste. We will be creating installation by designer harvesting plastic waste directly from the sea.
And then recycle them and turn them into a pavilion. Our idea is when people pass this gateway, it will mimic the condition of the ocean.
คือจากเวสมันมาทำให้เกิดเป็น installation เป็น art installation เกิด activity.
Normally pavilions are created a couple of days and then afterwards they're discarded or they're kept away.
After the festival, the installation will be dismantled and then donated to Epic Home as constructional material. Epic Home is a non-profit organization based in Malaysia, building home for community who needs them.
เรานำมันมาสร้างแล้วเราก็เอากลับไปทำบ้านให้กับคนที่ไม่มีบ้านอาศัย
We believe the world is too small to be defined by one narrative. By working together as a community, we can make a difference. So, this is a sneak peek of our project. Yeah, so this is like we are kind of halfway like putting out the structure. So I just came back from Singapore actually. Yeah, so this is like some of the material that we managed to put together. Yeah, so if you're interested in coming to Singapore, like it will be happening in 19 until 21st. So if you're interested in attending the event, like just approach me because I do have some complimentary ticket. Yeah, so for our design approach is pretty much about like how can we like look at the material potential. Yeah, like for example, we with this project, like with Taiwan Cultural Ministry, so we were looking at like how to collaborate with. They do have a timber street in Taipei. So by working with the craftsmen, we were looking at like what kind of timber available to them, and different from Borneo, because I think in Borneo we are quite privileged and also quite lucky to have like big chunks of wood. And over Taiwan, like what they can use is only a very thin slice of the timber, like or veneer. So, but they actually expose a huge selection of veneer. So with this project, I was looking at how to marry these two things, like the veneer and the light box. And once it is lit, like the aroma and also the lighting texture will coming out from it. So this is the outcome of the project. And with the second project that I'm going to show is in architectural scale. So it was the Kuching attended the event. So it was done for Rainforest Fringe Festival. And a lot of time when we are looking at like, okay, how can we innovate upon the local material, we were looking at like working with available craftsmen. But at that point, there was none. Like none of the people can really build with bamboo material. So sometimes in this kind of approach, we have to be our own designer, builder, and like researcher on to look at the bamboo potential. So we spent like around a month to build the entire thing. And then we also work with the local craftsmen to bring in some of the craft that is already not necessarily available or popular in the area. So that was the outcome of the project. Like after 1 month of sweat and blood, yeah, and we managed to put together the structure. So the whole idea is it is an instrument to be played. So we invited Karinding Attack from Indonesia to look at how can we play directly in the bamboo pavilion. Yeah. So we're not simply interested in looking at building it. We're also interested in looking at how can we archive and also documenting all the knowledge we found from the building process. So we spend even more time looking at the research of how to treat it, how to build with those bamboo, and also how can we share it. And we found out the best way is still the propagation. So this propagation is going to come out like in August. Yeah. And we will do a book launch over this year RFF event, Rainforest Fringe Festival event. So we're also looking at rattan, other material and timber, bark. Yeah. So propagation project is very important for us because this is like before coming back to Borneo, I actually did a lot of research on like what kind of propagation available to us in terms of looking at architecture, looking at art. And what I found is I mean the one that with ISBN is not so many available. So the danger of it is like whatever we do, at one point it will be gone. Yeah, so it's very important for us to see how can we work as a mass as well, like to look at like, okay, how could we do a collective content contribution approach and then build the propagation project. So this is also a video that we done for our crowdfunding.
When we first planned for our first propagation Borneo Art Collected book, we thought that it has to be a book that reflects Borneo value in terms of the content, the message, the organization, or even the bookmaking itself. The book is about the practicing artists and the craftsmen around Borneo. At some point in the making process, we were in the dilemma of quality versus quantity. If we go for the handmade quality we wanted, it will be much more pricier and less copies than the digital prints. Luckily, we know how to see things from the flip side. If we are willing to pay more, we will be able to work with some of the really best craftsmen of our time through propagation. Every writing about making a book excites us, especially good content organized with high quality. It was how our first book came out in 2017. Until today, we are quite proud with the decision we made. The book was sold out within the first month. We are also proud to notice a number of cross-regional collaboration took place via the book. In 2019, we want to make a book that will take reader on a compelling journey to discover more in depth about the Borneo innovation in art and craft. We also invited the very talented and also innovative content contributor to bring about the kind of innovation we should see in their respective art field. More excitingly, we even invite them to act on it. In Design Day, we were looking at how the material in Borneo found its new line through contemporary design. In food section, we explore the diversity of jungle food culture and bring out a series of contemporary interpretation for it. In documentation part, we found a unique way to unfold Borneo landscape. We also speak about the unspeakable through an artistic perspective. In performing art, we consciously initiate more theatre project in public to set out more awareness and acceptance within the community. Looking back the last 2 years, our journey has connected us to some brave collaborators. Now we hope you are one of them too. We put this project out here because we want you to be part of the journey. With your support, we can bring this project into life and inspire more people. We do so because we know that this is the storm preceded the ripples.
So this is the video we done for our crowdfunding website. So after a month, we managed to got the fund, and now the book is actually in the process, and also like we've been talking to the craftsmen, like how to make the book even more interesting. Yeah. So I think like along the last 2 years, almost 2 years, like we have been working with some of the very brave and also visionary people like in the region. So we are quite lucky to continuing engaging them in the conversation, and we also hope that you can be part of it as well. Like so this year we also will be working on Rainforest Fringe Festival. Last year our theme was Rainforest was redesigning Bornean craft. This year our theme is redesigning Bornean experience. So it's end with like one of my favorite picture, working with people. That's it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Wendy, for